Automotive conferences attract professionals seeking new clients, always have, always will, from nationwide businesses to sole proprietors. So, can a car hauler attend finished vehicle logistics and start hauling for OEMs? It's a question. We're going to follow up with our new top 10 load boards ranking. Did we get it right? What did we miss? Let us know. Please chime in, say hello, make new friends, and network with the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Industry Logistics on ATI Auto Business, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. If this is your first time, jump in, say hello. Please do leave a like, click share, copy. Hello, YouTube. Hello, LinkedIn. Let's say hello to my co-host. Please do help me wish a warm welcome to Sue.
Hey.
Hey. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I want to just say, hey, Matt, I see you in the Zoom waiting room. Hang out. Hopefully you're watching. We had a little bit of a shakeup of guest lineup today, so we'll see how this goes. We should be good. Rod is on his way to the airport. Joe is on his way to a phone. I don't know what's going to happen. But we do have, let's do this. I'm going to share my screen. We're talking about, all right, the question is, hey, if I show up at finished vehicle logistics, can I start hauling new cars for OEMs? And I'm asking this because, dude, finished vehicle logistics North America in Huntington Beach is happening right now. Now, I've been to this conference, and it is global. And when I say global, that's a code word for, this is top notch. Yes, there are OEMs there. So if you're a small car hauling business owner and you show up, what happens? Can you get OEM business? I'm asking the question because I know that somebody's thinking it, somebody's hoping it. When we go to trade shows, we hope for the best. These are just some of the sponsors. Again, very, very, very professional conference. And, we see Super Dispatch. They were talking about OEM. The more you hear OEM talked about, the Auto Haulers Association of America, you think, man, maybe I want to haul new cars. Even Edwards says, I'm sorry, I can't be there because I'm busy hauling. Right? But I'd like to be there. Thanking RPM, thanking Ford. It makes sense. And here's a guy in Texas. He's looking for car hauling coaching. I sent him over to Rob. He said he was looking for a dispatcher too, so I need to send him over to you. His name is Lewis.
Okay.
Deepak from Vancouver. He's in the live chat. Shout out Deepak in the live chat. Wants to get into car hauling U.S. to Canada. I think Rod was actually talking about that. And in fact, this is crazy. Run Buggy just posted that they are now in Canada.
Wow.
I don't think I've heard of other domestic load boards talking, U.S. domestic, talking about Canada. Have you?
No, I don't think so, huh?
So I put the link, and it turns out Run Buggy was my guest Tuesday night. I'll be talking more about that. So that's the show. Got the next 45 minutes or whatever. Please do say hello, chime in, say something. 5 steps to networking success. I've talked about it in the past. If you're seriously going to go, think about who in your company is going. Why are you going? Have a purpose. What are you saying? Are you going to go play golf? If you're going to go play golf, have you been practicing? because you're going to need to do that. If you're going to pick up clients on the golf course, you might want to dust the clubs off, a few months before you go. Seriously, right? You got to make it count. It's not just what you're saying. What are you wearing? What are you doing? Are you staying up late drinking? Are you getting up early? These are all factors. Just going is literally not enough. And then follow up. I released a short this morning about how your first year could just be a kind of whatever. It takes several years to kind of figure out what you're doing. I found this was interesting. Here's some key insights from Consumer Affairs. Here's some numbers in auto transport. In 2023, about 3.12 million cars were sold in the U.S., resulting in approximately 15.5 million in combined sales of cars and light trucks. Okay, that could be that's a pass. Skip that, Jay. You didn't give me anything. Vehicle shipping services industry in the U.S. had a revenue-based market size of $9.9 billion in 2023. Okay. Wow. Read that again. Vehicle shipping services industry in the U.S. almost $10 billion in 2023. You think there's some money in this? $10 billion last year. And the rates stink. So what's up with that, right? How does that?
I don't know. How does that translate?
It doesn't. That's part of the problem. That's the dirty secret. That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
It makes no sense. Don't tell the car haulers that. Come on, man. Top 5 destinations of car shipping: LA, Houston, New York City, Miami, and Dallas. I'm telling you what, when you're golfing at Finished Vehicle Logistics, go ahead and, hey, I'm gonna try to make this putt. Before I do, I just want to mention I heard that the vehicle shipping services industry in the U.S. had almost $10 billion in revenue last year. And putt. The U.S. cars are commonly transported across country using trucks. Here we go. You'll love this one. The cost per mile for shipping a vehicle varies from 53 cents a mile to over $2. We can read her lips. She said, wow.
Oh, I said, wow,
I'm
by less
kidding.
than 53
I'm
cents.
just kidding. By the way, I apologize in advance. You know what's going to happen here? I get excited. I start to get engaged in the content. I'm trying to beat the clock. And I'm going to step on your toes communication-wise. So I apologize in advance. I have a habit. I watch my footage back and I'm like, oh, I talked over Sue again. It's terrible.
It's all right.
It's just it's a bad look. These are bad times. Why can't OEMs hire small businesses? I made a little list. Chain of command, lack of capital, scalability, deep bench, volume pricing. There's actually a lot of reasons.
There is a lot of reasons.
So.
And it's sad.
Well,
it is and it isn't. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. They want a big company to handle it all. So I get it.
So we'll be talking about that too. We were doing this. Which auto transport load boards are worth paying for? Which is, it's interesting. Top 12 we talked about. That was the past. All right, so here's our current list. We're going to do a little bit of a follow-up here for a second. Central, Super, Metro, Holly, Ship.Cars making the top 5. Wait a minute. Is this old? Shoot. One Dispatch shouldn't be on here. This is old. Dang it. Good job, Jay. Anyways, here's the feedback. Here's some of the feedback we got. Looking at number of loads is wrong. Just remember how we were trying to go through different criteria?
Yeah.
Right? What about fake loads, speed of dispatch, caliber, broker, shipper? I mean, it really is tough to figure out.
Truly. Because we don't know what are duplicates. We don't know what are fakes.
And how do you measure? Yeah, I don't even know how you do. But, so and we forgot auto hauler exchange. Which isn't technically
you mean as far as a load
board.
board?
But yeah, so I wanted to ask you, do you have carriers using auto hauler exchange?
I had one driver use them so far,
Okay.
one load.
It's
And we
good for
talked
you.
about it on the show because that was the factoring situation.
Oh, the factoring situation, right.
Yeah.
Did that get cleared
Yeah.
up? It did.
Yep. Got
Yeah,
paid. It was
okay.
fine.
All
Yep.
right, good. Well, anyways, here's the updated criteria. Okay, yes, I still say number of loads available is number one criteria
Yes.
for. And when I say top load boards, I mean, see, I mean load boards that you check, right? This
Right.
isn't. We're not just talking fluff. This is real. What load board do you check first? The answer is.
Central.
There we go. What do you check second?
Super.
Yeah. Third.
Metro.
Yeah. Fourth.
Oh. Mm,
See, that's
maybe
roasted.
ACV.
ACV.
Probably
This is,
ACV.
and maybe it changes by day, by
It does.
driver.
And I think it depends on the area you're in too, because certain load words, not central, but certain other load words focus in different areas. Like ACV is like a mainly an East Coast kind of situation. So if you guys got guys in Florida or something like that, that's like Janice picked off 5 from ACV last, what, Thursday? Yep, for Monday pickup. So,
Nice.
you know what I mean? So it's that
Yeah.
kind of situation. You got to know what load boards kind of specify in what areas when you're looking for loads.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, and then here's another one. The TMS mobile app conversation.
Mhm.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why Super Dispatch comes in as the clear number 2, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
mean,
it's all in one. Yeah.
imagine Super Dispatch without the mobile app and the TMS.
Right.
Who knows where we'd be?
Mhm.
So, all right, cool. And let's see here. Oh, and then we talked about. Oh, yes. Okay. So one of the guests today, Matt, is waiting. Hopefully everything's cool. Let me just check to Matt. Uh, okay. No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Stay there. I'm messaging Matt right now because we're live. You know, I I realized something. It's kind of like we're in a classroom and I've got a chalkboard. Okay.
Okay.
That went over like a Led Zeppelin. So Cox doubles down. We talked about it. Well, Matt, who is joining us, here's some of what Matt had said. It's important to consider timing when making acquisitions. This is feedback to that show. This is how it's easy to actually be a guest on ATI. Whoops, shouldn't have said that. But if you're engaged with the content, you get on, come on down. You're the next contestant. Talking about Super Dispatch, Central Dispatch, loads, major. Okay, how many use Central Dispatch to dispatch loads now? Major brokers seem to be avoiding it. They only use it to post. Even $1 billion investment may not be enough to lure brokers back if the platform stays the same. Not wrong, by the way. Because how long ago did we realize that a broker, a large broker, we could say broker, I don't have to say what, asset light carrier, I'm tired of that.
Right.
Okay. A broker can post a load on Central Dispatch, and then when you go to book it, they're like, yeah, let's talk off of line. Call me on my bat phone. And you're like, well, why? Don't you just dispatch it through Central? Nah. I'll see you outside, right? And you're like, well, what's up with that? I don't know, the dramatic
Well,
stuff.
I
But
mean,
what?
there's very few that's like that.
Okay, so it's not like that anymore. It
No,
was
I
for a
mean, no.
while.
I've never, if they won't dispatch through Central, unless it's a major broker that uses their own load board, I don't, I wouldn't work with them. I wouldn't be able to trust them. You have no contract, you have nothing. Um, you get more blind shipment kind of things than that kind of situation. And even those blind shipments have gone down. So I mean, I probably haven't done a blind shipment in maybe a year. I don't know if everybody knows what a blind shipment is. It's where
Talk about
they,
it, yeah, blind
yeah,
shipment.
It's where they
You have to wear a blindfold.
buy, yeah, they find somebody to buy them a car, a brand new car that needs to be shipped overseas. And by law, you can't ship over a brand new car. But they get these people to buy the cars for them, usually via cash. And then they hire somebody, and then you can't tell the person you're picking up from the dealership where it's going to. You have a fake name, person that bought it, that kind of thing. And then you ship it overseas, generally speaking. But I've also done them where they don't get shipped overseas. It was just a blind shipment. We dropped it to somebody. So,
So, and thank you for that. But I thought, but I
mhm.
mean, this was a thing when I was dispatching, and it
uh
wasn't shady. I'm not trying to suggest it is shady, but it's interesting in that many brokers would post on Central, and when I
mhm.
went to book it, they didn't dispatch it through Central.
Really? Yeah. See,
They dispatched it. Well,
I used to do that, but
they'd pull
Central
it
didn't
off
have a way to
Central,
dispatch
and
it
then
way
they
back then.
dispatch it through their own system or
Yeah.
email you. Right? There's a
The
lot. There
the
was a lot of
information.
those,
Yeah. See,
and
I don't get those anymore.
so they don't. That doesn't happen anymore, huh?
Mm-mm.
Weird.
No, I haven't had any of that happen in a
Really
really long time. Yeah. Now, don't
interesting.
get me wrong, I've had fake brokers here nonstop lately posting these loads. We're taking the loads, we're factoring them, and they've got great credit and everything. And next thing you know, they're out of business. That's what you need to be watching for. That's happening nonstop.
Well, fake brokers are in the news. Let's do this. It's 12:15. Do me a favor. Hang on. Right after this, we're gonna bring in Matt from Bold Auto Transport. Stick around. The evolution of transportation.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
That's the voice of Sue. If you need help shipping a car or staying loaded, Murphy Auto Transport Services is there for you. Visit murphyautotransportservices.com. In fact, Sue is here now. Oh, here we go. Please do help us. Wish a very warm welcome. Matt, can you
Hey,
see us
Matt.
and
Hey,
hear us okay?
yeah, yeah, I can.
Awesome. Matt, please say hello and tell us a little bit more about you.
Hey guys, this is Matt. I work in Bolt Auto Transport, and I consider myself as the third generation auto transport broker. I consider Montway as the first gen,
Mhm.
then SGT and Nexus. Those guys came in. I think they're the second gen, and now there's newbies, a little bit younger,
Mhm.
maybe mid 20s and mid 30s maybe. They're the third gen. Right now we're trying to take over the industry, but these big guys are too big now. They're hard to handle. Like we're fighting our way. We are having problems with carriers and with
Mhm.
central dispatch. Everything seems like against us, and we have no authority, no power to control things. And I think central dispatch is making the most money out of us. The big guys are paying 3,000. We are paying almost 1,000. I think our numbers are much greater than the big guys when we compare. And I think they need to hear us. They're inviting SGT to the meeting they're going to hold about the brokers, and they're going to get their opinions. Why the mid-size and small-size brokers are not there? Those big guys, they're going to keep paying 3,000 a month, but you're going to be only having 10 of them. We are paying 1,000. We are hundreds. I think Central Dispatch needs to make better decisions.
I really appreciate. So here's the thing about me is that I have this I have this desire to give a microphone to the common person.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I feel very much to be a common person.
Yeah.
I've also walked through doors of large businesses, conference rooms, trade shows, and had interviews with heavy hitters. So I've done both.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there is this thing about if you talk to too many common people, you lose access to those large hitters. And it's cost me. But I feel like it's so important, and it actually reflects the things we say on social media but don't do. There is so much rah about morality and virtue and doing the right thing, and yet it doesn't freaking happen in business. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And just saying that, like, right now I just lost another, like, gigantic global account. But my goodness. And the thing is that it's true, and the truth hurts, and the truth costs. And I think one of the things you hit upon is that the brokers that were big before are gigantic now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's 10 years ago, some of the brokers that I would call for loads, obviously they were big, but now they feel inaccessible.
I agree.
And they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Now, I have also known that this isn't a big secret, and some companies have tried to change their tone and be more accessible. But there is this thing right now where sales gets 90% of the attention and the money, and dispatch gets 10.
Mm-hmm.
The last dog at the bowl. So, having said that and set that tone, and now that everybody's jumped off because now there's no money in this, what else? You know, I was reading your comments. What else do you want to say about what you wish? Let's say you could sit at the conference room at the table you were talking about at the meeting. What would you like to share? What do you think is what productive? They give you the microphone. All right, Matt, what productive information do you have for us?
Okay, so I want to mention that the new rating system on Central messed everything up. Those ratings mean nothing right now. Everybody has 4.7, 4.8, 4.9. They're still doing a bad job. There's no consequences. And there used to be brokers are able to rate each other as well, posting a load without a contract. Now we're not able to do it. Now we, the brokers, are just not able to regulate each other as well. In the past, I remember competing with Yellowfin. I was in Nexus by that time. They were both like mid-sized brokerages. Those guys were posting my customers' loads. Mm-hmm. And I was giving them a negative, and they were calling and saying, hey, sorry, we're not going to do it again. And, you know, it's just with us removing that negative from their profile was kind of giving their reputation back. Everybody wanted a clean sheet of paper. Sometimes a driver is literally lying to us saying that my truck broke down, but we know there was a load paying $200 more. Say it. Tell that to me. Tell that to me that, hey, do you know what? I have a family. I'm working hard. This $200 is more important to me. Then maybe I'm going to pay more to you from my broker fee. And we're still going to get a good job to the customer. And I'm not going to lose a long-term customer. And also my reputation is on the line as well, because you promised me a date telling me that you're in the area. I promised to my customer. And over here, it's a chain that we need to provide a good service. Now maybe I lost $20,000 on the long run because that guy canceled for $200. In the past, I was giving a negative list of positives, and on the top of there, it was saying negative from me on their profile. And their boss was calling us saying, hey, how can we remove this negative? I want my clean sheet of paper back. That is my reputation. Mm-hmm. And we were able to resolve things on the phone. In these days, it's not like that.
Nope.
This is what happened last week. There was a similar case that I gave a negative to a carrier because they were non-responsive. They didn't pick up the car on the exact date. and they didn't let us know. The customer is just doing a chargeback and he already shipped the car. We don't know. We didn't get any updates. And even the customer didn't notify us because another broker called them and convinced them, just trash talked about us. So we lost the customer because of the bad job from the carrier and a bad broker. We got totally thrown under the bus. What happened? I gave a negative to that carrier, and 8 of their drivers gave us negative on our Google reviews page.
Hello.
What's going on?
Hello.
What is going on? Like, my Google reviews page is probably the most important thing about me. My central dispatch ratings, the customer doesn't seem that. Like, customers don't have any idea about my central dispatch, but my Google reviews, they're important. And I got 8 negatives in return. Like,
He said, okay.
how it's happening? Like, who's allowing this to happen?
Oh,
I'm
no,
trying
the
to grow as a
1400.
business.
No, I'm going to try again today.
How are we going to compete if it's happening like that? I'm having a hard time to hear you if you're speaking.
Mic check. Thanks. Part of our social problem here
Okay. All right.
is that, see, when we ask for regulation, because that's the term, we don't always like the response. But at the same time, when left with no regulation, it's madness.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
I have a question. I have a comment. Did any of us ask for the ratings to be corrected in this manner? Would be the better question, because I don't think we did.
Where'd you get that idea?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I mean, I had a meeting with them, but I offered other suggestions, and one of them was not doing what they did. I mean, like he said, there is no regulations when we're talking about ratings now. It's a free-for-all. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. And there's nothing any of us can do about it. I mean, you can give them a negative rating. They're going to give you a negative rating in return, and they're going to lie about it. So you have to look at the people that gave the ratings. And if you know those brokers, you know they're legit. So you know how to go about it. But if you're a new broker and you don't know anybody out there, you're going to tell everybody you're not going to let them haul for you because they have all these negatives. So I mean, I don't believe anything that's on there. I have to do research if I don't know the company every single time.
Yeah.
Isn't this where Super Dispatch is kind of Super Dispatch sees an opportunity, which is, all right, let's clear up the freaks and the liars.
Yes.
If we just get them out of here, then you don't have that. Do you think that'll work? The freaks and the liars. It's a filter.
I think yes and no. I think you're still going to have some that slip through the cracks. Like we're dealing with a broker on Super Dispatch right now that hasn't paid us for a month. We've been calling, texting, and I had to wait. Today is the last day to file to start the broker bond procedure. We did let them know they're not paying. They have several negatives on Super Dispatch for not paying, and they said they're going to look into it. At least they're willing to do that. Central will not do anything about anybody not paying anybody at all, or stealing cars or anything.
Yeah.
They're no hands approach. I mean, you deal with it, and it's on you.
This is the neutral zone. Everybody's welcome here. Everybody is welcome here. But I will say that as we approach June, we know about the Central Dispatch investment announcement in January. Mm-hmm. I still know nothing new about what we're doing. And it's concerning me. So I'm just, camera one, I'm just setting the record. I'm wondering how long we're going to go without knowing what this means. Because I think on the shipping side, but I've seen some reach out too. Yeah, it's not all about you. I get that. No problem, Joe. But I don't know. This has been the problem with logistics all along. Yep. Again, this is why it's 10%, 90% sales, 10% logistics. We know the ecosystem. We're paying attention. AI on Tuesday nights, AI software, this and that. So I wanted to talk about Run Buggy, Run Bot before we move into the OEM logistics stuff. If you didn't see Tuesday night show, which I don't think anybody saw it. That's an inside joke.
Okay.
Nobody watches ATI. But that's the thing. Man, oh man. If you didn't see this show, well, 150 people saw it already. If you go down in the time codes, and at 20 minutes into the show, you want to watch this. This guy throws down the information this is what you hope from a head of data science. This is awesome. Really check it out. Even if you just watch for 5 or 10 minutes, it's awesome. What is RunBot AI? Go 20 minutes into the show. Check it out. I said it's the show me the truck. Okay, yeah, here we go. We want broker transparency. I mean, if you have to tape this to the front of your truck, guess what?
The problem?
There's a problem. Right?
Yeah.
And do you think the broker does the broker see this? Like, so he's cut you off in his BMW, and he's looking in the rearview mirror laughing, and he sees this and goes, "Oh yeah, huh? Okay, good one, Jay."
Pretty much.
Funny.
Okay, here we go. Hey, did you know this is new? This is news yesterday. There's a new bill that'll let the FMCSA fine double brokers $10,000.
Really?
It's a proposed bill. Yeah.
How are they going to do it, though?
Bipartisan lawmakers, title of the bill, yada, yada, yada. If the bill is passed and signed into law, carriers brokering loads, there it is, Sue, carriers brokering loads without broker authority will be subject to fines.
About time.
Could be blocked, authority revoked, face $10,000. See, that's the thing. When you get regulations, you get what you pay for. Because they're not messing around. $10,000.
Do you think that's why Central stopped carriers from being able to list this is coming out?
Could be. It's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, I would expect they're in touch with,
Yeah. What
legal
is
teams.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably before we do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, way before, yeah. They've got briefcases, files, and cabinets, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
allegedly. Matt.
Yeah, I don't think Central is doing what it needs to do. They're lacking big. If it wasn't backed by Cox, Central would be gone 2 years from now, like 2 years ago or something. In these days, we should use Super Dispatch, but the Cox is so big that backing it up and just keeping it alive. It is 20 years old software, not helping us, not doing any good. It's just like a cancer. And I hate it. I hate using Central. I hate the carriers on it, the brokers on it. It's just like a Wild West. Everybody's trying to shoot each other.
How do you really feel? No, and isn't it? It feels good to finally say to somebody.
Yeah.
We live in this world where it seems like everybody else gets to tell the truth except us.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Somebody needs to speak.
It's
though.
weird. Like we need an Oprah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm trying to fill those shoes. It's really hard. Go ahead.
And I want to add this. So sometimes I dispatch a load and I get suspicious. The carrier is canceling instantly, saying that customer non-responsive. Now you have access to my customer's data.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a broker friend that is calling the customer and telling that this broker did this and trash talking us, making us canceled, instructing customer to file a chargeback, and doing the job for $50 less. How about that? This industry is, at this point, so hard for a business that is just getting started. Mm-hmm. Even though I have years of experience in the software side, in dispatch side, in sales side, and every side, the only reason why we are alive is because we are one of the more experienced type of mid-sized brokers. I mean, I think if there was a new guy who's just learning about the auto transport brokerage, they would die in a year, maybe less than a year. They wouldn't make it. They're going to buy leads, they're going to pay for a CRM, and they're going to try to survive in this industry where everybody is trying to steal money from them. Even the carriers and the other brokers just, oh my God, it is so hard for people out there. And that's why those guys are getting gigantic because they have authority. If a carrier cancels twice in a row, they can blacklist, and that carrier is never going to get another load from them. And since we have only like how many, like 100, 150 posts at a time, we don't have any authority. Those guys are having over 1,000. They have some percentage of the loads and some volume that they're able to enforce carriers to obey them. But us, nobody feels bad about canceling on us. I dare them to cancel on Montway twice in a row. I dare them. I dare them to cancel on Nexus twice in a row. What's going to happen? You're not getting any other loads. In your last minute cancellation, you're looking for another load, and Montway is there, paying like $2 per mile, premium customer. You're not getting it. Now you lost because you cannot mess with the gigantic ones. But anybody else, it's Wild West.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
So yeah, Sue, counterpoint.
Because I mean, I have canceled more than twice with Montway, with any of the big brokers, Metro, all of them. And I mean, and usually when we cancel, it's because we really have a breakdown. There's something's gone on, or the loads have canceled that we're going with it. I will tell them that. I'll say our other loads fell through. I can't take just one load. I'd rather be honest with people. Some of them don't like it still, but I'd rather, and it's the same thing, me being a broker, I'd rather you tell me that too. Don't just cancel and then just go do your own thing. Just tell me that. I'd rather know. But yeah, I mean, if I have to cancel, I cancel. And I think I canceled one for Montway last week, in fact, because we were broke down. And I've worked with Montway for the last 5 years. So I don't know if that, because I'm established and, you know, that makes a difference. If you're a brand new carrier, you're probably right. You're probably not going to go back to them after that. And there are a lot of brand new carriers out there, and they have no clue what they're doing.
This is why I like the conversation. I want to say this, and I'll say it to camera one too, is that if you watch like sports shows, there is no holding back on players, teams, coaching, whatever. But in our industry, I'm pretty sure, I feel it, if you say anything about a company, it's very prickly and snowflake and and I'm here to try to help stop that. We need to be able to talk to. It's time that we rip the duct tape off our faces and say something about this industry. So Matt, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And even if you're not right, it's okay to share opinion. That's right, I said it. Dear LinkedIn.
We all have different experiences, so
yes,
absolutely.
we do. But what's happened, and I see this in content, everything's now just petting a cat or petting a dog or something that nobody's going to disagree with.
Right.
Then there'll be a comment. I can't believe you're petting that dog. I only pet cats. That's where we're headed. Sharing opinions has become extremely dangerous. I think that's one of the reasons why. See, I still have a little bit of duct tape left. I'll use it. All right. Let's do this. Now we're going to switch over to OEM logistics. Can a car hauler... We're going to bring in Joe. Let's see if Joe can join us. I'm going to try to get Rod in here as well. I'm not sure. Well, we'll start with Joe. Can a car hauler go to Finished Vehicle Logistics Conference and start picking up OEM contracts and work? Right? You're not even there and you said no. Matt, is your impression no? Or do you think they can? Or maybe they used to be able to.
I don't know. Can you hear us, Matt?
I thought that you're speaking to Joe.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe I
no,
said
he was
Joe.
asking you.
Yeah, I asked you.
Okay.
Joe, and Joe will let us know. Joe, well, before
Okay.
we do that, Joe, can you see us and hear us? He's still joining. Okay.
I see you and I
Okay.
hear you.
You hear us.
Okay.
Okay.
I
All
just
right,
haven't turned my camera on.
Oh, cool. All right, Joe, we're going to ask you the question. But before I go to Joe, I'll go back to Matt. See how it
Okay.
is?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, can a
Yeah.
car hauler show up at a conference and start getting work? What do you think?
I think
OEM.
OEM work.
We'll say
Yeah.
OEM. Yeah, OEM.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think they shouldn't. You got to see their, I don't know, the past works that they did, and I think there needs to be also a broker involved to check the insurances and everything. You cannot just show up to a car show where there's maybe highly valued vehicles, or even if it's an OEM, it's a brand new car that needs to be carried safe and sound. Like you show up with a truck, nobody knows who you are, if you're gonna steal the cars or not. Unless they're Teslas, maybe you can track them.
Okay. It's a good answer. All right, Joe, can a car hauler show up at Finished Vehicle Logistics right now happening in Huntington Beach and pick up some work?
I mean, not in a day. Short answer is no, not in a day. OEM relationships are very particular for some of the things that Matt said. Has to do with insurance, and there's every manufacturer has a vetting process that they go through. So in these contracts that are issued in OEM circles are typically, there's a very formalized process that they go through to be able to get into the bidding cycle and things like that. So short answer is no. But could you eventually get yourself, could you build a relationship that could get you into a spot buy situation or something like that? I mean, over time, yes, you want to make those relationships happen. But is that something that's going to happen? No. That's not a quick process.
How about this? Could a car hauler show up at Finished Vehicle Logistics and maybe pick up work as a car hauler for one of the auto transport businesses that's at the conference?
So could you associate with perhaps someone who has an existing contract and then pick up business that way? Yes, you could. But because of the restrictions of the OEMs in terms of their insurances and all of those other things, even those who broker to a sub are going to have a very formalized and very specific sign-on process that we'll have to go through. It's a vetting process, because, it's sort of like what Matt said a minute ago. If you're hauling new vehicles, the game is very, very different than when you're hauling, vehicles that were pre-owned. You're dealing with some peculiarities, consumer protections, things like that just don't exist in other marketplaces. So the carriers are therefore extremely careful about who they issue that business to, make sure that they are properly vetted, that they're reputable, that they have the wherewithal to be able to cover the cost of claims in the event that there are claims. There's a whole series of things that you have to go through. And if you're a brokerage, then the contract holder is you. And so their vetting process is going to be just as restrictive as the OEMs, because they may never see a carrier again. They may dispatch them one load and never see them again. And if there's a claim that shows up 9 months later, then, there's a serious problem, and, that someone is going to end up being, left holding the bag. So the short answer is no, there's no fast path to that. The fastest path to hauling cars in the OEM world is to train with a business that has an existing OEM contract.
I see a lot of brokers at Finished Vehicle Logistics, and I wonder how they're doing. I'm assuming they're picking up business because they continue to go. Anything to add?
It's a springtime in the car haul business is a notoriously busy period.
Mhm.
The whole capacity of the marketplace in every avenue, all of the different stakeholders in our business right now are very busy. And so, I certainly can't comment on how the brokerages are doing that I have no knowledge of. But let me say it this way. If you're bored right now in this marketplace, change your career.
Whoa. So all right. So this topic, it's been boiling for a while. Because I could say the same thing. Can a car hauler show up at Auto Haulers Association of America and pick up business? And I've been
Again,
told I shouldn't ask that question.
as a sub, why wouldn't you?
Well,
As long if you're in an Auto Haulers Association, you're probably reputable enough to be able to carry, to be able to meet the minimum requirements of most OEMs. If you even know what Auto Haulers of Association of America is, you probably, are at least halfway there to be able. So, if that's the case, you got a couple of trucks and you're looking to put them to work, hook up with a reputable broker, and build that relationship. So could you shake a hand and make a friend? Absolutely. This business is all about relationships. I've literally said that on your show for 2 years.
Well, we hear it a lot. It's true, but what does it mean sometimes? Because I'm going to say this. This is what I do. I ask the dangerous questions. You just said, talking about Auto Haulers Association of America, if you know what that is. And I would say, why would some people that have been around for a while not have heard of it? Some associations do an amazing job of letting everybody know that they're there. Like OIDA. All right? Owner Operator Independent Driver Association, OIDA. Man, they go to truck shows, hand out cards, call us. OIDA, OIDA. IDEA, OIDA. Auto Haulers doesn't do that.
I can't speak to that.
I know, but
I don't run that show.
I don't. But my point is that this auto haulers and car hauling seems to be different from trucking in many respects, and that's
No
yet
doubt.
another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're such a specialized industry that a subset of a subset of a subset of a subset of an industry. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're in transportation and logistics, but it's so specialized what we do and how we do it, and how we handle our business. The way that we track our metrics is all very different than freight. So it's kind of a if you know kind of game. Yeah.
Oh, there you said it. If you know, you know. Again, it's psst, hey, shh. And yet somehow YouTube has penetrated the interest of anybody that ever thought about hauling a car. So I guess if you really want to build your reach, try YouTube.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways, I find it fascinating. But
let me just say this.
I don't have anything else to do.
We've had discussions about and shows about this before, Jay. How many of the YouTubers that were showing, we're going to make it rain and, $1 million in 3 months time and all that. How many of them are still here?
Yeah. Where's that buzzer at? Yeah.
Look at Sue
Although it
nodding
doesn't
her
seem to
head,
matter.
nod sagely. Saying,
Yep.
This is a tough business to get in. It's a tough business to stay in. It's not for the faint of heart. Not everyone can do this job, and maybe that's a bit of what makes it special. I think it's a lot of what makes it special. But that's the thing. There's no silver bullet to this business, this industry.
No, but there is a garbage chute which leads to what's called driver shortage. When in doubt, throw your hands up and just say, driver shortage, everybody. What does it have to be that way?
How do you answer that question?
Well, this is why I just saw a headline. High school asks to let 17-year-olds drive trucks. Something like, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. But that's irrelevant, though. I mean, what the high school and the federal whatever and all that other, they can say that until they're blue in the face. The people who control and throttle the amount of talent within our industry is insurance. Because it doesn't matter what the federal government says. If the underwriters don't like it, ain't happening.
Now that is a fascinating contest you've painted there. Because it's true. Wow. Mind blown. Yeah.
I would say that we are hiring right now at Midwestern everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to be bringing people aboard everywhere in our network, and we are offering hire-on bonuses for experienced and non-experienced drivers right now. That's our big push. And the number of applicants that we receive in comparison to those that insurance will pass is it mind-boggling. Make you sick.
Like 10%?
Probably around 15 to 20.
Wow.
And of that 15 to 20, how many of them can actually haul cars, can actually do that job?
Right.
So that's why I say you're a subset of a subset of a subset of a subset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to stay there for a moment because hiring is right. This is many people want to know what. So what does that look like? Let's say, because I was going to share your link here. What does that look like? And why don't you promote that for a second? You said you're hiring everywhere. What are you looking for? What does that look like? How does somebody go through that?
2 years over the road experience, and that's pretty hard. That's a pretty standard insurance requirement for our business because it's so specialized. And basically, there's a matrix. You don't have to have a clean, squeaky clean driving record, but you do have to have a driving record that's acceptable enough for insurance to accept you. And a lot of that is because when you're dealing with a car carrier, which we start out at 45,000 pounds. The risk requirements are something different than if you were just a steering wheel holder for a big truck and a 53-foot trailer.
Thank you.
So and I can't get into what those particulars of that matrix are because I just don't know them all. But there is an insurance call it compliance check that takes place on every driver that has to go through our training cycle. And then of course you have all your other typical FMCSA jumps, hoops to jump through with pre-employment drug testing and, all of the clearinghouse and, all of that kind of stuff that you have to go through. So, which you would do at most any company that you hire onto. That's pretty standard stuff now. Some drivers that haven't applied in the last 3 to 4 years would probably find it really difficult. But if you've applied for a job in the last 3 to 4 years, then the clearinghouse should be familiar to you. By the way, that doesn't make the website not clunky because it is.
Wow, that's fine. You guys are in car hauling, not web design.
That's right.
Okay. So, got the driving part. Joe, I want to go into your interview with a little more understanding experience of loading. So I'm going to try this again. Is there anywhere anybody can go to get a little bit of loading experience?
Yeah, you train with us.
Oh,
that's
okay.
if you have no experience, the first 2 weeks that you're with Midwestern after we get past all the safety stuff is going to be putting them on and taking them off. That's the only way to learn this business. And I would add that ATI Auto Business has a 9-car loading video that we found extremely useful to explain to new hires what exactly we do for a living. So you should throw a link up to that because it was one of our we're really proud of that video. It was a really good one.
That video rocked. I am also very proud of that video. Let me find the link to it. But one of the things that I was thinking maybe you could have said, but you didn't, and I know why you didn't, and you know why I'm harping on this, is that you didn't say, oh, you should go over to Auto Haulers Association of America, and they have all kinds of links and tutorials, but that That's not what that association does.
Yeah. I don't think that's what the purpose of that association. I mean, I don't want to speak for them because I don't, but I don't think that's the purpose of that association. I think that that association is more about putting vendors and suppliers and carriers into the same place so that that way they can, reputable businesses can meet and
You're right.
do business with each other.
What I'm sharing is, I guess that's what I was hoping it was for. But you're right. It's for what you said. Let's do this. Got a little more news. And by the way, see, that's the thing too. Again, we're so used to no opinions in this space at all that anything I say like that is so flagrant. But in the sports world, we haven't even touched the surface. Okay. Good analogy, Jay. I'm right there with
Well,
you.
it's they're not the same thing. I mean, we could argue over who is the greatest basketball player of all time, and there's math and things that you can back it up. It's all publicly shared. So there's no question of the number of points that Kobe Bryant shot, for example.
Yeah, but did he do it gracefully? Was he any good?
Well,
man, he stepped on the paint.
Right. It's not the same in our business because nobody advertises what how many units they shipped last week. We don't self-report the same
But we
ways.
don't even have, and you helped me with this, top 50 auto transport businesses in the United States.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting exercise because we literally didn't have any actual resource to go from. And I just find it fascinating that in our specialized industry that so many want to get into and so many sell and all this stuff. I mean, there are literally buildings of brokerages. They're so big, they're running into each other. The 60th floor is smashing into the 70th floor of another giant brokerage. And yet you can't talk about this stuff. Right?
Well,
Matt?
this is what I was saying. If you're bored right now in this environment, something's wrong. That's what I mean by that. Someone is selling traffic somewhere. If you don't have access to it, then someone is selling traffic somewhere right now.
I gotta say this show turned out better than I was thinking. I appreciate it because Rod is stuck in traffic. Travis couldn't make it. Joe jumping in at the last minute, as always. Man, Mr. Reliable. Yeah. And Matt, it was great getting you up in here. What I'll do is, let me just finish out with a couple news pieces. And somebody's like, right now, somebody's like, you didn't say anything about how great Sue is. The greatest. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Reindeer is now posting on Super Loadboard.
Yes, they are.
I found that really awesome. We were just talking about, because now you don't need to go to their load board, right?
Well, I never went to their load board, and they don't answer the phone.
See?
So this is
another
fabulous.
Another true opinion breaks through on ATI. Yeah, you know what? So the truth is, I have gone to their load board, but it took extra effort. All right, cars arrive, load rejections. We were just talking about Cars Arrive. This is the biggest news coming out of Cars Arrive in the past year is the number of rejections. Don't cancel. I just find this so fascinating. I didn't know anybody was booking. Okay, Jay, let's just skip it. Hey, Central Dispatch. There it is. There's the good news, Matt, you were looking for. One more way to protect your account. I mean, that's
too
good
late.
News.
Too late. It's 2024. Like,
too late.
Good point.
Come on.
Wow, yeah. Take it away. Yeah. Here's
take it
the ball.
away, but
dunk it.
Well, when it started getting hacked a year ago, he's right. At least it should have gotten done a year ago.
Yeah. And somebody tell her she's wrong about that. This is part of the opinion that I'm saying we need to be able to share is that, how long have we had this problem?
Well,
Do you know how many
Just way
people are
longer
talking about
than-
stolen vehicles right
Yeah.
now?
Just go on to onto one of the Facebook groups, you know, about our industry, and once a week there is someone griping about, you know, some kind of sideways thing with with one of those technologies, whether it's Central or another one. But just about every week. And if you want to get into some controversial opinions, just read the comments. They're fabulous. So
Yeah.
Thank you, because on Facebook they are body slamming people
yeah.
and businesses daily.
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anybody that thinks this show's prickly, stay off of Facebook.
Oh no, we're pussycats compared to what happens on
Pussycats,
Facebook.
exactly. Oh my gosh.
We're snowflakes. We're nothing.
Even I get embarrassed reading Facebook messages. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Hey, now the port. This is important for OEM logistics. Do we know anything about this, Joe? Perfect. I'm glad that you're here. Bridge update. You know, do we know? Is there anything new happening?
I have only heard that mainly what's happening here is that they are opening avenues so that it's sort of like opening a highway, you know, that had been closed for a period of time. Is that they're opening additional avenues to be able to get in and out of the port with various, you know, whatever, ro or what have you. The problem is that the containers, they win. You know, the containers are the highest volume thing. They're going to have first access to everything. And, you know, what does that do to the auto shipping side? I don't know. Seems like a lot of the manufacturers have pivoted and just used other ports to try and deal with it. Whether that's effective or not, I just don't have the visibility to say. But
Well, right.
But containers are going to win at the end of the day.
So
They're going to get.
And so, for your best understanding, and again, there is no news source to actually get the update. You just have to talk to people, and that is that. So, what was it? Port of New Jersey, Port of New York, Brunswick. Are these
Davisville, Rhode Island, I think, was one of them, and
I
Port of
hadn't heard
Wilmington.
that one. Okay,
And
I
Port of
just
Wilmington
took
was
some to
another one.
Locust in Baltimore.
you did.
Yeah, dropped
Lo-
4 off at the port.
Okay. Oh, dropped them off.
Yeah, at the port.
And you had to stack them.
I don't know what they did with them. But we took them to South Locust. They took them there.
Okay, that's cool.
They may have also. So one thing to keep in mind, we touched on this a little bit, but one of the reasons why, when you're dealing with new vehicles, one of the reasons why things become complicated have to do with the way that we report to the customers. You know, when in order for us to, and that's because a lot of the manufacturers are, you know, they're publicly traded companies, and so they have to do particular things to be able to show every step of the revenue stream, and so the carriers have to comply to all of those requirements by extension. And it is possible for you to deliver vehicles to a place that is just because that's the way the system has to report the transfer in order for it to bucket the revenues and what have you in the right way. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be loaded out of Port of Baltimore. They could be shuttled from Baltimore to Wilmington as a next leg because, you know, this is already predetermined and this is how the system has to report it. And so it's a little bit, it seems a little out of sorts sometimes, where you say, oh, wait a minute, why they do that instead of, you know, move it here then here versus just moving it straight there. That's why, you know, those things they're imperfect devices because of the regulations that have to be followed.
Regulations, there it is. By the way, Lewis has a bunch of questions. We're going to get to some questions here in a minute. I love it. Thank you, Lewis. He says he's going to hang tight. All right, cool. Let me just see if there was anything else I wanted to talk about in the mailbag here. Oh, no, not that, Jay. Okay, so... Oh, God. That's why I had that slide. This guy had a quote. He got blocked by a broker. What do these modern freight brokers need are carriers who are willing to haul only cheap loads and don't ask questions. And I guess this is a communication he got from another gentleman. And it was very gentlemanly. I even had to fuzz it out. This is like Facebook level communication.
That's very professional. I'd love to
Yes.
do business with them in the future.
I know. But at least he had nice letterhead. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Let's see. Talk about rates. Again, Sue, we just heard last year in 2023, vehicle shipping industry almost $10 billion in revenue. But the rates are great.
It's never down. It's now a hobby now.
You're right. Well, to many, I think it does. Matt, you saying this like sometimes during the day when we pace around and we look at the walls, we think, "What the hell am I doing?"
Yeah.
And we should be able to say it. Darn it! You can't say it at the conference. Don't say that at the conference. All right, let's get to Lewis's questions.
Okay.
Lewis is asking. Lewis is in Texas. Lewis is a 3-car. Lewis is trying to set up his business. Now, this isn't a symposium on how to set up your business, but he is here. He's asking questions, and where else can you go to ask these questions? It brings me back to: is there anywhere else to do this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think so.
Questions.
I know, Jay. Self-serving. Yeah. Okay. He says, what documents are needed for car hauling? Do I need factoring? What type of insurance is best? So brokers give you loads. These are some of his types of questions. Anybody want to jump in?
Where do you want to start? What was the first
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, let's start at the
Documents.
first one. What
He wants to know what
documents do I
document.
need? Which makes me think of a doc pack on Central.
MC.
Yeah, so the first thing that you're going to need is your authority, and it's kind of a little bit of a circle there, because to get your authority, you have to have insurance. To have insurance, you have to have your I mean, it kind of goes dragon eats its tail kind of thing. But if you're going to be self-employed, then you have to get your transport authority from the FMCSA, and there's a whole process, and there's a bajillion websites that can walk you through that whole deal. Make a friend who is in the insurance brokerage. There is no best insurance except for the one that works for you. The most of the time, if you are able to find a good insurance broker, then they can walk you through what it is that you'll need in terms of liability and cargo, and so on and so forth. And oftentimes those insurance brokers will also have some tips on how to deal with the FMCSA side. So these are two things that can be done concurrently. The other thing that you're going to need a good insurance, or you're going to need your insurance certificate. Anywhere you go, that's the first thing they'll ask you for is your insurance certificate. And oftentimes they'll ask you for, asset information, so that way a company can understand what it is that you have available, what your assets are. They're not just going to give you, $100,000 worth of new cars if you don't have the wherewithal or the coverage to be able to service it. The other thing that I think that that one would also need to get started is industry contacts, and there's 100 ways that you can get into that. Whether it's through one of the websites that we mentioned a minute ago, or just pour through all of ATI's voluminous library of people and contacts and companies and things like that. This business is built on relationships like so many others, and finding good relationships and leveraging them is the fastest path to success. And it ain't fast, but it's the fastest path. So those are kind of my three things that I would call out off the top of my head. One addendum, I've said this a million times: if you're starting your own business, get a good CPA. Having an accountant that can help you through the first 3 months is going to be critical.
So, so I don't know what this gentleman's wanting to do, so it's kind of hard for me to give my full info. But if you were a 3-car, typically I would tell you have $150,000 in cargo. You can do 100,000. I don't recommend it, because cars are just getting more expensive. If you were to total everything, even 150 might not cover it. Definitely you have to have $1 million in liability. That's required. He was asking something earlier about insurance on his truck and trailer and insurance liability cargo. Yes, you have to have insurance on everything. Because if you wreck your truck or trailer, you got to cover it. Same thing.
Also, the total, what is that? Where the insurance for when you take possession of the car, but before it hits your skids. I forget what that's, constructive loss. Is that what that's called? That's another one. If you have an accident while you're pulling a car to put it onto your truck, there's a liability insurance that's helpful to have.
So,
Because like you said, they
I've
crack
never had
real
that.
easy today.
That's cool. Oh, yeah, I've never heard of that. None of my guys have
I
ever
was going
carried
to say I
that.
hadn't either,
Yeah.
but I'm not surprised. But that's the thing is, and here's a real gap. I'm 7 years down the road and I don't have an insurance agent to recommend. That's not great.
Mm-mm. No. And in the insurance rates when you're doing this can be super high. It depends on how much experience you have. You know, the whole thing. It could be
Shouldn't I
$4,000 a
have-
month.
Shouldn't I have one insurance agent that I could recommend somebody talk to?
But I've got a list, but
Oh, you do?
oh yeah, I hand out a list on a regular basis to people.
All right,
of
then
people
call
I
Sue,
recommend.
417-273-0021.
Email me, I'll send you the list. How about that?
It makes my life easier. Call Sue. Okay, that's cool. That was really, I think, that was some good info. That is just a appetizer to the buffet
Right. There's so much
that you
more.
are about to embark upon.
Yeah.
That you'll feel like you're in the business of learning about auto transport business rather than hauling cars.
Well, once you get your
Welcome to the business.
once you get your authority too, you're going to get a book that's like 3 inches thick. Wait till you read that.
It's like if you said, "Oh, I think I want to be a law student," and they will hand you a football
There's the
field of
FMCSA
information to
laws.
read tonight.
Yep. And then you're going to get audited here in about 2 to 3 months next
Right,
from them. So
It is really, really something else.
yeah, it's
So-
a long procedure and process.
And I will say this, and that's the car hauler side. What I love, Matt, is that I now know there are a bunch of schools that you can, if you're looking to get into brokering. Oh my gosh, there are a ton of people ready to take your money and teach you about brokering.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
That what's interesting is, but that's at least an organized education system, or maybe a disorganized education system, but it still appears to be an education system. Whereas learning car hauling, well, you have to talk to a specific company like Joe, and that's why I love Joe. You saying, "Well, we'll train you, we'll talk to you." That is amazing. We should have a poster for that.
Yeah, well, that's what the industry requires right now.
Yeah.
That's the need of the industry.
I didn't think we'd go over an hour. We did do it. Rod, I hope that you made your plane. And finished vehicle logistics. I hope you have the great rest of your conference. And I mean that. I like finished vehicle logistics. I like Auto Haulers of Association. I just wish that it's still, I know there's a lot of people that have questions and I don't know how to get them the answers. And my hope is that one day I can. I hope that one day there's more answers available. And Central Dispatch, same thing. One day I hope there are more answers available.
Yeah.
So mark that down. It's 2024. I probably said that 5 years ago. It could be 2029, and I'm still saying one day I hope. And it'll just
Surely
be a
not.
whole different set of, questions. All right. Well then, get back, plug into the grid, get back to work, and thank you for your service. This was fun. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
Yeah,
See you
right on.
guys.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Sue.
Yep.
What do we say, office?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Sue.
Goodbye, Sue. Thanks, everybody.
guys.
We'll see you next
Thanks.
Thursday.
Yep.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.